Hey everyone, it's me, Ian, from the Postal Hub podcast,
And Marek from Last Mile
and
Experts.
we are the Last Mile Prophets. And Marek, we're going to talk about supermarkets again and Amazon again and how the whole thing's mixed together because a major retailer in the USA, JC Penney, things aren't going so well right now, and Amazon is said to be
Delicately
circling.
speaking, Ian.
Yes, Amazon is said to be circling. Now, and that's raised the whole discussion of Amazon's previous big acquisition being Whole Foods. Marek, it wasn't just about buying a whole heap of supermarkets for the heck of it, was it?
Yeah, and this is the issue. A lot of the commentary says, well, why did they buy Whole Foods? They could have bought something else, etc., etc. But I think it misses the point. The point was, why did Amazon decide to buy Whole Foods anyway? And I think there are two things, and they're completely separate. One is they understood that people buy groceries regularly,
Yeah,
several times per week,
yeah.
potentially. Whereas normal online shopping can take place once a month, once per 2 months, maybe per couple of weeks. And that was part of it. They want to own the customer. They want to make it so convenient you can have any shopping experience with the big A.
And Amazon was already doing Amazon Fresh at that stage. So it wasn't completely out of the blue, if I can put it that way.
It was, to be fair, and it was piloting it because they didn't have the infrastructure. For Fresh to work, you need the localized stock and infrastructure to be able to deliver fresh, perishable goods. They had more experience with what they call pantry, which is non-fresh
Which you
groceries.
can basically treat like any sort of warehouse item, yeah. You chuck it in the
Absolutely.
warehouse and you pick it and pack it. You don't have to worry about bruising bananas, for example.
Absolutely. So, they had a degree of experience, but they didn't have the infrastructure. And I think part of it is the fact that they wanted to be an integral element of people's every sort of day or weekly shop.
So how does this feed into the last mile? Because we're talking about Amazon's overall business, and we can probably throw in the flywheel for good measure. But when we talk about the actual last mile, how does this all plug into the last mile?
Well, the big issues, as we've just touched upon, is that in the last mile, things change dramatically when you have fresh for two reasons. First reason is the customer requires ultra fast delivery because perishables cannot take 2 or 3 days sometimes to deliver. You've got issues of chill chain. You've got issues of needing, I would say, the item to not just be available, but to be available locally. And then there's a whole lot of issues with returns. With the normal return, there's no problem. You return the goods and that's it. You can't really return perishable items. It's a very
Wow.
complex
Yeah. But
scenario.
they've also acquired a retail footprint and all the car parks and everything like that. So there was some discussion back then, whenever it was, 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was that the Whole Foods acquisition took place. It was also about buying a footprint for Amazon's lockers.
Honestly, if a revolution takes place, and post COVID, I think it's more likely that it will happen, then that footprint is necessary. And, Amazon are anything but stupid. And what they've realized is one of their biggest challenges in terms of, owning the customer in the States is Walmart, who have a pretty big footprint, several thousand stores compared to the tens at the time pre Walmart, maybe hundreds at most, that Amazon could have had. So I think there was no choice. Could they have bought something else? There's a debate that there were other things to buy, Kroger, I think, amongst others. But probably it was a question of the right time, the right price, the right deal. And am I concerned that Whole Foods was upmarket? Not really, because I think it means that Amazon opens that sector up to all of its customer base.
There's another thing to bear in mind or consider here, and that's this Amazon's approach to build versus buy. In the last mile, Amazon partnered for a long time, and then it started building its own. So how does this, I mean, coming back to a potential acquisition like JC Penney or the past acquisition of Whole Foods, how does that plug into Amazon's build versus buy strategy?
Honestly, I don't know what is behind that deal, if there is a deal at all. But what I would expect is it's actually to do with the retail footprint, not the technology that JCPenney have. Because Amazon have technology, that's what they're good at.
They have technology. They've had their own clothing lines and all these sorts of things. So they're not lacking there, but footprint.
Exactly. So I think it's about the retail footprint. How do you acquire several? To be honest, I don't know, Ian, how many stores these guys have, but we must be talking hundreds, if not thousands. How do you acquire that many locations in one go, and probably at a bargain basement price, adding an extra point, given that the company's in trouble? Probably they've negotiated fairly good rentals for the premises they've got.
In the Amazon world, bearing in mind, everybody, that Maddock was VP Logistics EU for Amazon. In the Amazon world, how much does it think about its competitors, or does it never think about competitors? Because we mentioned Walmart before, and there's Target and all those other, the big retailers that are going full on in the last mile and in e-commerce at the moment. What about from Amazon's perspective? Does Amazon look at where it's weak compared to competitors?
Well, let's look at, first of all, in terms of Amazon thinking. Of course not. You only look at the customer. So the Amazon thinking would be, we don't care about what the others are doing. We want our customer, in this case, Mr. Kerr, to be absolutely delighted with what we do and everything about what we do. The reality, I suspect, of course, they focus on the customer experience, but to do that, you need the footprint. And at the same time, the smart cookies there must realize that Walmart is a threat, given that footprint. And if you like, the fact that they're able in that respect to offer potentially better customer experience.
There's another sort of thing to throw in here, and that is that Amazon has been trying to get close to the customer with its fulfillment centers so it can deliver Prime very quickly in the USA. And that will probably happen in other markets where Amazon is active, where it will want to deliver Prime next day or something like that. So could there be another play in there, again, trying to make it related to the last mile? If you're getting the fulfillment centers closer, if you are going to look at acquiring another retailer, whether it's JCPenney or anybody in the future, there could be other stressed retailers that come onto the market in the future. Would Amazon look at these as being either part of its fulfillment network, bases for Amazon Prime Now drivers, or Amazon Flex drivers, I should say, for lockers, in order to get more efficient delivery to people in the last mile? Do you think that there's that sort of thinking going on there as well?
I believe it could be a bit of all of those. So, we discussed what's going to happen with shopping malls post-COVID. And we were talking about dark stores, potentially maybe stock holding locations, which are easily accessible. Your favorite one, landing places for drones.
On this topic of the future of malls, just the other day, we recorded a video about buy online, pick up outside the store, and how that all fits in as well. We know that Amazon's been looking at that with some of its Amazon Go stores. So there could be something more here where Amazon is looking at this local fulfillment, local collection, trying to make it seamless and come back to this customer obsession as well. Because I had a look at this the Walmart tool and how they do it. It's great. How you just say, I'm on my way, you tell them the parking bay, they bring it out and put it in your car. This is the kind of thing that, if I had some supermarket near me that offered that kind of service, I'd do it. I'm 100% down with that.
And I think that Amazon are looking ahead at what might happen. And if they're not prepared, they could wake up one day with, probably it's a bit late now, but someone like eBay getting smart and opening up all of their hundreds of thousands of local retailers doing exactly that.
It could happen. It could happen.
Smart forward thinking by Amazon. It'll be really great, though, to see what people may be close to this story.
So comment below if you know anything about this, if you've got any theories even about what could be happening, whether it's not JCPenney, whether there could be another retailer that Amazon could be interested in acquiring or taking an interest in. Comment below. Marek Krzyzewski from Last Mile Experts. Thanks for being part of the Last Mile Profits today.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this episode of The Last Mile Profits.
Make sure you subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and also the notifications bell so you get a notification every time we add a new video to this channel. Look forward to sharing more stuff with you on The Last Mile Profits.